year 1990X, a tragedy occurred bringing forth a nuclear apocalypse. Natural resources were all nearly destroyed, breeding violence across the lands. With elimination of order, martial artists and bandits all sought conquest, killing those who stand in their way. This dreadful time became to be known as the Age of Power, where the strong can take what they desire. A man named Kenshiro wanders the wasteland in search of his love Yuria, but what begins as a quest of rescue and revenge turns into a tragic drama where men and women are pitted against evil, sorrow, rage, and destiny. Bearing such pain, legends were born, inspiring the works of Sakigake Otokujuku, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Rikyo, Cyber Blue, Super Dr. K, and many more. Created by a pair of men known as Buronson and Tetsuo Hara, it's the manly masterpiece Fist of the North Star, aka Hokuto no Ken. Originally debuting in 1983, Fist of the North Star became the poster boy of manly series, where the gimmick of the story was muscles, hand-to-hand combat, violent martial arts, action, tragic heroes, and of course, manly tears. While Hokuto no Ken was not the first manly series in either Shonen Jump or manga in general, it certainly helped pave masculinity into the mainstream. From its arrival came forth many similar themed series and characters who embody a heroic soul filled with masculine ideals. Fist was so impactful that many main characters started to mimic Kenshiro's character design. Even the authors Buronson and Tetsuo Hara would recycle the design for their other characters such as Keiji, Rintaro, Cyber Blue, and especially Kenshiro's uncle named Kazumi Kenshiro. In short, chances are something manly in anime is more than likely influenced by Fist of the North Star, or at least by some older manly series. Surprisingly, even Toriko bears certain references or similarity to Hokuto no Ken, such as the four main characters being adopted, or that their Earth was plagued by war and calamity. While this review is based on the original manga, I believe it's possible that an anime reboot may occur in the future. Another possibility that maybe the manga will get licensed, which is the purpose of this video. What I'm trying to say is that both the 1984 anime adaptation and its manga have very similar content with only minor differences. The tone of both works are dark, but I feel the anime succeeds more in emotional impact due to voice acting and its dramatic music. So, what does the manga offer? Well, for starters, the art. Tetsuo Hara's drawings in Fist of the North Star compose most of his best work in manga, which would be topped in the prequel Fist of the Blue Sky. One misconception many anime fans have is the quality of older series due to their animation. With all honesty, there are some episodes where the anime does suffer in its visuals, but other times can look great, or be subtle, depending on the quality of the episode. In short, the anime doesn't always accurately represent the artwork of Tetsuo Hara. As you can see from the various imagery on screen, the art is incredible. Many manga panels and double-page spreads manifest manliness on a grand scale. These images display the characters not just as men, but as legends that can be seen in ancient times of kings and queens. Whether it is a gang of bandits, an army of soldiers, or even beautiful women, the characters really stand out as people of myth. You can imagine how heavy some of these people are, or feel the pressure of facing a gargantuan enemy. The manga is really inspiring, not only in visuals, but in its storytelling and characters. What I really enjoy from Fist of the North Star is how well written the characters are. Many of their storylines intersect with at least two other main characters, giving vast details and deliver plot twists in really fascinating and quick methods. Not to mention, each character has so much to deliver in the story, and speaking of them will require much time to probably explain the underrated quality of the tale. Before the apocalypse, there exists a martial art known as Hokuto Shinken, or the Fist of the North Star, which can kill anyone with the touch of a finger. By pressing different pressure points, a master of this fist can have complete control over a human body. This assassination fist is typically used to make people explode into a bloody corpse, but can also perform miracles such as curing the blind and the mute. From the beginning, we are told that there's over 708 pressure points, thus leaving room for creativity and various techniques. In short, Hokuto Shinken has remained as the unbeatable martial art for over 1800 years. Because of its deadliness and simplicity, only one heir per generation can wield this fist. The conflict begins when the 63rd successor, Ryuken, has no sons, so he adopts 4 boys and trains them so one can be the 64th successor. Kenshiro is chosen, and this leads to the beginning of the tragedy. Once the apocalypse has hit, many men have become corrupted by the times, leading to Shin to steal Kenshiro's fiancée by defeating and torturing Ken. This marks the start of the first and shortest arc of the series, being 10 chapters. Within 10 chapters, you can see how different Fist of the North Star is from the modern shonen, as it's set in a very cruel world where anyone can die. However, The early chapters are good with content of both drama and action, but lacks direction in what to do. It isn't until the 40s where the story starts to move, where Kenshiro revisits his past, dueling against his brothers and stopping their tyranny. As Kenshiro continues to battle, he realizes his solemn duty is to become a savior to the world. This is most noticeable during the Souther arc as the series starts to ditch its Mad Max style and enter into a more messiah and religious approach. Around this time, the series also develops its lore of man versus destiny, as many characters are fated to die. In a very ballsy and creative strategy, the authors introduce the Death Omen star, meaning when a person sees this star, they will die within a year. Now, this is something unheard of in anime and manga. I never encountered a series that straight up told its readers main characters are going to die. And when it happens, you'll be shedding manly tears, which led to one of the strongest points of the series that has nothing to do with analysis or critiques, being emotions. From its early Mad Max content, you wouldn't find it possible for this series to be a very tragic battle shonen, which is due to the character deaths. While not every death is prophesized beforehand, these manly departures created an attachment to your very soul. Unlike the battle series of today, when a character dies, there's no coming back. Fist of the North Star is one of the few shonens that don't pull their punches in their content. Whether it's violence or tragedy, you will remember it. Many characters go through hell in their pursuit of peace, making their final moments admirable. It is because of these scenes that I prefer the anime over its manga. But since I'm talking about the original source material, here's some manga criticisms. Once you reach chapter 136, you'll notice that this should have been the ending to the story, especially when the arc concluded on a very high note. But, due to popular demand, the series kept going till chapter 245. Basically, chapters 1 through 136 was animated as Fist of the North Star, while the remaining chapters being 137 through 210 were adapted into Fist of the North Star 2. Long story short, fans are mixed about the Part 2 story arcs as it retcons many character origins and motives, but also introduces so many half-baked ideas. The quality of the story never reached the same heights as Part 1, which is why it warrants its own separate review. However, Fist of the North Star 2 doesn't fully cover the manga, which leads to the final chapters of the series being 211 through 245. To summarize these short arcs, it randomly introduces the son of a main character, who popped out of nowhere and doesn't really add much to the story. Yet the following arcs have their moments, and the art by this point astounds me, as I didn't think Tetsuo Hara could make his artwork look even better than before. But the very last arc is one that cannot be missed, as it neatly wraps up Kenshiro's story with Lin and Bat, and just when you think your tears have dried up, you discover you still have some tears left to shed. I suppose the advantages to the manga of Fist of the North Star are the art, the fast pace, and the lack of filler content, but its disadvantages are those very same traits. The artwork is undeniably good, and I enjoy seeing Tetsuo Hara gradually improve his character designs with each passing chapter, but unfortunately, this series is not licensed, meaning the lack of good quality scans. There are some translations which differ in name spellings, such as Yuria being Julia or Bat to Bart, but the main problem are many chapters looking very blurry in comparison to the first 70-some chapters. While I appreciate the more straight-to-the-point approach of the Shin arc in manga form, there are certain scenes and arcs that proceeded a little too fast in comparison to its anime. Upon rereading the series, there are some vital moments that don't seem as dramatic as the 1984 anime adaptation, and much of it has to do with the music. The OST for Fist of the North Star is a work of art in expressing tragedy and hope, as shown through tracks such as Minagoroshi no Theme and Asunaki Tabi. On the subject of filler or original content, there are some moments which aided a character's background, saying certain lines or just made a longer fight scene. So when those little segments are missing from the manga, it does feel a bit off. The manga is not underwhelming by any means, but the anime does give it that extra push. In summary, Fist of the North Star is a really grand tale of valorous men enforcing justice as they search for love and solace. The content of the manga is incredibly fast-paced, which will aid those who want to get a better impression of the series' reputation as a manly yet passionate shonen. But I still highly recommend watching the 1984 anime, as the best moments of Fist are just so sentimentally epic in anime form. At times, the series can feel like a soap opera or a melodrama, but Fist of the North Star is so manly that it can get away with it. It's such a shame that Hokuto no Ken isn't too popular, especially when America has tried many times to market the series in the West. For example, did you know we actually had the manga printed here in the USA? Viz Media, which were known as Viz Communications at the time, released Fist of the North Star in comic book format, but even Gutsoon Entertainment released these master editions and only managed to release 9 volumes of the manga. And I'm sure you can guess that these manga and comics are out of print. So, if you want to experience something manly and heroic, read or watch Fist of the North Star, as it proves that even an 80s shonen can truly be called an underrated piece of art. I'm the manly anime hero and I review manga so you can read it.